Middle school Tyrant finds out no one likes her. At my middle school, we had a vice principal who fancied herself a dictator. Any tiny bit of power she got was an issue. But I was a middle schooler at the time and a good kid, not often in trouble, so I didn't cross her path until 8th grade. Her friend was a bus driver named Pat. For 6th and 7th grade years, we had an awesome bus driver. He was nice to the kids, let us put the windows down when the Georgia heat got too much. But he retired, and the bus driver we got was an extremely angry, middle-aged woman named Pat who did not like children and made that clear every day. "The window stays up or we go back to the school," she would yell as she had the only fan blowing in her face on a 100-degree school bus. This was to keep us from throwing things out of the bus, but that was never an issue before or after. The real reason was that before the bus drivers could leave the bus at the end of the day, all the windows had to be back up and locked. So this saved her the effort. My bus stop was the first she drove by, but the last to pick up and had been that way for years. Pat changed this and decided she only wanted to stop on the first pass by and kept threatening to leave the kids in my neighborhood if we made her stop twice. I first got on the Karen's VP radar because Pat left me on the side of a very busy road one morning. She could have stopped but wagged her finger at me as she drove away and left me. I flipped off the kids laughing at me out the back window, but the bus driver Pat thought I was flipping her off. I didn't get suspended because she left me with no way to get to school on the side of an extremely busy road, and my mom threatened to sue if that happened again. But after that, they had it out for me. Pat tried several times to get me on anything. She even coached a kid to say I bullied him. When the real principal brought in the kid, he said, "No, OP is my friend. It was those other kids," and a bunch of other little stuff. Anything to get me in trouble. So the petty revenge comes in here. I was doing my best to make the bus driver's life a living hell, in a passive-aggressive way. She got annoyed at anything, so it was easy. But Karen was harder to do anything to. After fighting with the bus driver and the assistant principal for the most of the year, revenge came in the form of a police fundraiser. They were advertising it on the local TV news and local radio stations. If you put someone up for, quote, arrest, unquote, the cops would show up and throw someone in handcuffs and, quote, put them in jail, unquote, until they could call a few people and fundraise the bail. The person who set up the arrest had to pay like $10, but worth it. My mom, after being annoyed by Pat and Karen all year, put Karen, the assistant principal, up for arrest. The cops showed up and took her to the room where she could call her friends and raise the money for her to go. The idea was that Mom was going to keep having her arrested as long as she could. Except no one would give her the, quote, bail money, not even for a charity. So she ended up missing most of the day sitting in the police precinct trying to get anyone to put up enough money for her to leave. Eventually, the cops told my mom that they had to let her go because it had gone on too long. She was the only one who didn't raise the bail money that day. Letting her know exactly how much she meant to everyone at school felt great. I had a friend who heard her complaining about it later that day. She had called the principal who did donate some, but the other teachers gave nothing, and none of her friends would help her out. She apparently thought one of the teachers put her up for it. It's so minor and so petty it almost doesn't count. But when I left that school at the end of the year, Mom went up and asked her, "How was jail?" before we walked away for the last time. Top comment. Love the revenge and Mom's dig at the end of the year. Now about those bus windows. Pat was an idiot. Closing those windows on a full-size bus was the easiest thing in the world. We drivers took our bus push brooms and walked around the outside of the bus, pushing the windows up as we went. All windows on a 30-foot school bus were shut in 2 to 3 minutes max. Plus, it had to be added satisfaction of feeling like you were slamming down on an old school phone handset. I love how OP and the mom got their revenge with the vice principal and bus driver. If I was in OP's mom's place, I probably would have done something similar to that. Because if anyone try to mess with my kids, you best believe I'm gonna go mama bear on them for reals. Like, you're gonna try to pick on a middle schooler and you guys are grown adults? You guys should be ashamed of yourself. I mean, come on. You guys are adults. You should not be so petty like that. But hey, you know what? Karma is like that. If you do something bad, something bad's gonna come to you. And for the vice principal calling around trying to get bail money and no one's trying to bail her but the principal, that says a lot about you as a person for vice principal. So, it really pays to be nice and treat everyone with respect, whether they're grown-ups or kids or whatever, because you never know when you're going to need their help. What do you guys think of OP and OP's mom's revenge on the vice principal? Would you guys have done something similar to that? I would love to hear what you guys would do in OP and OP's mom's position. Have you guys ever experienced something like the OP or OP's mom? And if you guys have, I would love to hear how you guys got your petty revenge. On to the next story.